rolling,
Oh my
introduce yourself,
god.
and
So
begin.
distracting. I want to read all the DVD
Oh my
sites.
God, David, I have
Oh,
yours right here as well.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you, Paul McGuire Grimes, ABC Minneapolis. David, an absolute honor getting to talk to you. I really love the new film, and it hit me in some very emotional ways. So thank you for that.
Oh, I'm glad to hear you say that. It's tricky because we're following the footsteps of an iconic horror movie that William Friedkin always referred to as a theological thriller. So we're trying to homage some of the dramatic elements in addition to just the horrifying ones.
Well, absolutely. And you have to find your own voice of what you want to say as a filmmaker with this material as well. And I'm curious, there must have been pressure on you to reboot another beloved horror movie, given the success that you had with Halloween. What was the hook or the point where you said, yeah, it has to be The Exorcist?
Well, The Exorcist is the holy grail of horror movies for me, and it just meant so much to me the integrity of that film that to me transcends time and trends of horror. It's just as disturbing today for young viewers, I'm assuming, as it was for me when I saw it in maybe 1989, many years after it had come out, and I can only imagine seeing that in 1973 before I was born. But those audiences, I'm sure, were in for a shock when from what I am told, exorcism wasn't even a term that people were familiar with. What is this? And so there is a challenge of trying to take the expectations not only of that film but the many of knockoffs and ripoffs and inspired by films that have come in the wake of that film, and we were just there trying to make something that felt personal to us. I say us, my co-writer Peter Sattler and I, as parents, as curious souls wandering this earth, wanted to make something that felt meaningful.
Absolutely. And I think being a parent, that's how I felt too, being a parent. Like it just hit, I think that is what hit me so hard. Ellen Burstyn, one of the greats of our time. Talk about that collaboration. Do you as a director then feel intimidated by working with someone like her? And do you ask her for advice on how she feels about Chris MacNeil?
I absolutely ask her for advice. Intimidating, no. With someone like her, there's just a warmth, and as you can imagine, just the energy that she emits that you see on screen is so personal and protective, and so it's what gives every one of our collaborators that creative launch, because she's giving you permission to do your best, and I love those signals that she gives her collaborators in the ensemble, and for me personally as her director. So it was before I written the script, I introduced myself to her and said, I'm here with this as the steward of this title, and I want you to know who I am, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And there's going to be a point in a few months where I come and ring your doorbell, and like so many people before me, I'm going to say, would you like to do a sequel to The Exorcist? And you're a strong, dynamic person, can make that decision. But I'm not asking you that now. I'm just here to say hello. And in our conversations, very socially, were really inspiring to me, and I started almost transcribing some of the things that she would say about her travels in the world and her experience with spirituality and many gurus that she's met and books that she's read. And so I think many months later, when she was reading the script, there were some familiar elements of those conversations that had made their way into it. And then, of course, she had notes, and I am as personal as I want to make it. For me, I also want to make sure that an incredible performer like her has what she needs to invest in it 100% and to step back into the shoes of a character that she created 50 years ago.
That is just so iconic and beloved, and you just feel for Chris, even in this one still. Let's go back to William Friedkin. He talked about, speaking of spirituality, that he didn't know if he believed in possession or not when he directed the beginning, the first one. Do you have to wrestle with your own beliefs in order to take this on? And did they change at all with your research and just making the film?
My beliefs change all the time with the things that I see as I travel the world, and things I don't believe and then I do, and things that I do and then I don't, the skepticism, the curiosity, all those, what I say, they kind of add up to a spiritual buffet. And there's so much of this movie is trying to say that regardless of your religious upbringing or your perspective in this moment, from an atheist to Pentecostal Baptist to a Catholic to root work to clinical and technical minded perspectives of these situations, the idea is the unity and the common goal of our agenda is what this movie is about, is taking what's similar about so many of these voices and perspectives and bringing them together.
Yeah, I loved and I totally felt, and I love how you incorporate all sorts of beliefs in this film and where everyone kind of comes at in this story. David, I got the wrap. Great talking to you today. I could do a whole hour with you on this, Halloween, horror films. I appreciate it. So thank
Oh,
you for
hell yeah.
time
You
today.
got a film festival at your house waiting to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Take care, David. Thanks.